Margaret's son believed patience would make him rich. His father had died. The estate was enormous, and Margaret was old. All Daniel had to do was wait. But Daniel made one terrible mistake. He assumed his father was gone. He wasn't. Margaret had once lived a beautiful life. Not loud, not flashy, but full. Her husband had been a respected lawyer, brilliant, disciplined, powerful when he needed to be. But to Margaret, he was never defined by his title. He was her great love, her safest place, the one person who could understand her silence before she spoke. When he passed, the house changed. Not empty, worse. Still, the kind of stillness that listens back. He had left everything to her. The home, the investments, the accounts, the security. But most of all, he had left her confidence. He had spent their life making sure Margaret would never have to beg, never have to explain, never have to fear what came next. Their son, Daniel, inherited something different, expectation. At first, Margaret excused him. Grief does strange things to people. So when his voice became colder, she told herself he was hurting. When his visits became shorter, she told herself he was busy. When his questions became sharper, she told herself he was worried. Then came his wife, polished, careful, always smiling at the right moments, always pleasant, but never warm. She called Margaret dear, in the same tone others used for furniture, useful, old, in the way. At first, the conversations were gentle, practical, Daniel called them. Sensible, his wife said. They wanted to know if Margaret had considered downsizing, if she truly needed such a large house, if managing everything alone was too much, if perhaps it would be easier, if Daniel helped. Margaret listened. She observed. She smiled when politeness was required, and slowly, almost invisibly, money became the center of every conversation. What she had, what she did not need, what should be shared, what should be transferred, what would be easier for everyone, except Margaret. At first she helped, of course she did. She was his mother, a check here, a loan there, a quiet rescue when Daniel had overreached and called it ambition. But something inside Margaret began to whisper, soft at first, then clearer. You are not being loved, you are being managed. The requests became expectations. The expectations became demands. And then came the moment that changed everything. There was a family gathering, a celebration, important, meaningful. Everyone had been invited, except Margaret. She found out the next morning, not from Daniel, not from his wife, from a smiling photograph posted online. There they were, arms around each other, glasses raised, Daniel's wife standing in the center of the family Margaret had spent her life building. And Margaret, nowhere. That evening, she sat alone in her sitting room, hands folded in her lap, the house around her silent. But this time, the silence did not feel empty. It felt honest, and in that honesty, the truth arrived. I am only welcome when I provide something. No anger came, no shouting, no dramatic tears, only clarity, clean, cold, unavoidable. That night, Margaret stopped. She stopped explaining, stopped offering, stopped reaching, stopped trying to earn a place she had already given a lifetime to. Days passed, then weeks, no calls, no visits, no concern. And in that absence, something unexpected happened. Margaret began to return to herself. The quiet became peaceful. The rooms became hers again. The mornings softened. The evenings no longer waited for disappointment. And for the first time in her life, Margaret asked a question she had never dared ask before. If I am no longer needed, who am I? The answer did not come quickly, but when it came, it changed everything. I am not meant to be needed. I am meant to guide. That night, Margaret sat in the stillness of her home. The lamp beside her glowed gold. The clock ticked softly. Outside, rain traced silver lines down the window. Then the room shifted, not loudly, not frighteningly, just enough, as if the air had made space for someone beloved. Margaret looked up, and he was there, her husband, standing near the doorway, not as a memory, not as a dream, as presence, quiet, gentle, unmistakable. Margaret did not scream. She did not question her mind. She simply looked at him, the way she had looked at him for more than 40 years. "I thought I lost you," she whispered. He smiled. "You never lost me." Her breath trembled. "Then why couldn't I see you?" His eyes softened. "Because you were still looking where love no longer lived." Tears filled her eyes, but did not fall. "Everything is changing," she said. He nodded. "It already has." He sat across from her, just as he had done so many evenings before, as if death had only been a room between them. "You see it clearly now," he said. "What is real? What is not?" Margaret lowered her gaze. "Daniel wants everything." A long silence followed. "He believes it belongs to him." Her husband's expression remained calm. Then he said, "Then we make sure it does not." The next morning, Margaret woke before sunrise. For the first time in months, she did not feel old. She felt precise. She dressed carefully. Pearls, navy coat, low shoes. The same quiet elegance Daniel had mistaken for weakness. Then she made one phone call to her husband's most trusted colleague, a man who had known the family for decades, a man who understood loyalty, not sentiment, loyalty. By noon, Margaret was sitting in a legal office surrounded by documents. Every account was reviewed, every asset accounted for, every weakness removed. Every door Daniel thought would open was quietly sealed. There was no revenge in it, no spite, no need to punish. Margaret was not becoming cruel. She was becoming clear. Her estate was placed into protected foundations, charitable trusts, scholarships, endowments that would outlive generations, funds for widows with no advocates, safe housing for women abandoned by family, education for children no one expected to rise, quiet rescue for the vulnerable, everything intentional, everything protected, everything beyond Daniel's reach. Daniel waited. Of course he did. He still called occasionally when he needed something. His wife sent polished little messages. "Hope you're well. We should discuss future planning. It's important to be realistic." Margaret answered less, then not at all. And while Daniel imagined inheritance arriving like a tide, Margaret redirected the river. When everything was complete, she returned home. The house felt different, lighter, as if it too had been holding its breath. She sat once more in the sitting room. The lamp glowed, the clock ticked, and he was there again. "It is done," she said softly. Her husband nodded gently. "Then it is time." Margaret's brow furrowed slightly. "For what?" He smiled, the same calm smile she had loved for so many years. "For you." She stared at him, and slowly, understanding began to rise within her like dawn behind closed curtains. "I am not staying, am I?" His eyes softened. "No, my love. It is time for you to transition." Margaret lowered her gaze and looked around the room, at the books, the photographs, the chair where he used to sit and read in the evenings, the life they had built together. "The world we made," she whispered, "is complete," he said quietly, "and now you become something more." She laid down, held his transparent hand. Margaret closed her eyes. She felt release. A deep peace moved through her, not like an ending, like a door opening. The room around her slowly dissolved into light, not harsh, not blinding, warm, golden, familiar, and somewhere beyond the world she once knew. Margaret began to understand. A new and beautiful place was appearing before her. Graham stepped beside her and smiled. He explained that this magical inn existed between two worlds, heaven and earth, a sacred place for weary souls who had lost their way, and they had been chosen, approved, together. He told her they would become its caretakers for eternity. Margaret's eyes filled with wonder. Stillwater House appeared before them. It was not built, it was created into being. A house of deep porches and glowing windows, of soft lanterns and polished wood floors, of gardens that bloomed in every season. A place of warmth, of stillness, of truth. A place that existed only for those who needed it most. Together, they became its keepers. They no longer aged, because they no longer lived inside time. They no longer searched, because those meant to find Stillwater House always would. And above all, they remained together, a blessing beyond words. Together they lovingly operated the bed and breakfast, because a place that existed between two worlds required two souls bound by love, compassion, and quiet strength to care for it. Their love filled every room, and in caring for others, they continued caring for one another. Years later, travelers began to arrive, not by map, but by need. The abandoned, the grieving, the betrayed, the exhausted souls who had spent too long being useful, and far too little being loved. The ones who needed a place to pause, to review, to renew, to begin again. And somehow, they always found the door at the exact moment they believed no doors remained, and Margaret would open it, always calm, always kind, always knowing more than she said. She never greeted people with answers. She greeted them with tea, with silence, with a chair beside the fire, with the feeling that, for once in their lives, no one wanted anything from them. And somehow, that was enough. Because Stillwater House does not keep people. It returns them to themselves. And the Sinclairs remained there, not waiting, not lonely, fulfilled. Because somewhere, even now, someone has been forgotten by the people they loved most. Someone is standing at the edge of their own ending. Someone is quietly whispering, "Where do I go now?" And just beyond the rain, a warm light appears, a lantern glows, a door slowly unlocks, and Margaret is already walking toward it. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe to our channel, like this video, and share it with someone you care about. We would truly love to hear what you felt while listening to this story. Did it remind you of someone in your own life? Leave a comment below and share what is in your heart with us. Every message you leave is deeply appreciated. We wish you peace, good health, comfort and joy in your everyday life. Thank you for staying with us until the end of our story, and we look forward to seeing you again in the next episode of Stillwater House.